promotion, population, promoting our culture, promoting our tradition.
It is a privilege to address such distinguished assembly of dedicated public servants and leaders. I would like to express my sincerest gratitude um, to you all for taking precious time off your very, very important schedules to be here today. It is with distinct pleasure to welcome you all to this important sensitization forum organized by the Gambia Information and Communication Technology Agency, otherwise known as GICTA. Today we gather to discuss, strategize, and most importantly, inform you on the goals and objectives of our agency, which is GICTA, which plays a pivotal role in shaping the future of information and communication technology here in the Gambia. I would like to extend a heartfelt welcome to our esteemed guest of the day, our government officials who without them we would not be here today as a nation, collectively trying to grow and become the powerhouse we know we can be. Your insights and support are invaluable as we navigate the complexities of digital transformation, and your presence underscores the critical role of policy and governance in fostering a thriving ICT ecosystem here in the Gambia. Just to give you a brief introduction of what GICTA is all about, you are going to hear a lot about their vision and mission and their goals and objectives from members of GICTA and members of MUCTI as well. So I'm just going to give you, just like I said, a brief introduction on who they are before we start the program proper. So the Gambia Information and
Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Honorable Usman Ba, the Honorable Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service, Mrs. Salimata E.T. Toure, the Vice Chairwoman of GICTA, Permanent Secretaries, the Director General of GICTA, senior government officials here present, the media, all protocols duly and respectfully observed. I am given a very simple task today to welcome you to this forum. On behalf of the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy and the Gambia Information and Communications Technology Agency, GICTA, I extend a warm welcome to each of you gathered here today. We are honored by your presence at this sensitization forum, which aims to raise awareness about GICTA's pivotal role in advancing the Gambia's digital transformation. Today's forum is of great importance as we come together to discuss GICTA's objectives, powers, and functions. With a clear mandate to lead the Gambia's e-government plan and support the growth of our digital economy, GICTA is committed to delivering high-quality IT services to government. Your presence here, especially that of senior management from ministries, departments, and agencies, and state-owned enterprises is invaluable. As GICTA embarks on this journey of awareness, our goal is to build strong partnerships that enable us to effectively fulfill this mandate. Through informed dialogue and strategic alignment, we aim to harness ICT to enhance service delivery, operational efficiency of government, and empower the digital future of our nation. Together, through collaboration and a shared vision, we can pave the way for a more connected and prosperous future for all Gambians and residents of the Gambia. Once again, I would welcome you and thank you for your attendance. Thank you very much.
Mr. Jallo for that very short welcome. So moving on, I would like to invite Mrs. Na Sise Marena Korang, the Vice Chairperson for GICTA Board of Directors, for the opening remarks. Please, your hands together for Mrs. Nasise.
Honorable Minister, Secretary General and Head of Civil Service, Permanent Secretaries, distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, members of the press, and all other attendees respectfully observed. Good morning and a very warm welcome to each and every one of you. It is a privilege and an honor to address you today at this significant forum, where we come together to understand the role of the Gambia ICT Agency, GICTA, and explore its transformative potential for our government and society. First and foremost, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to all of you for being here. Your presence is a testament to the shared commitment we have towards the advancement of ICT in our beloved nation. Allow me to introduce the distinguished members of our board, whose dedication and expertise are the backbone of GICTA. We have Mr. Lamin Jabi, who is the DG of the Gambia Submarine Cable Company, GSC. Mr. Yaya Sirejalo, a seasoned retired senior civil servant who has worked in several ministries as PS. We have Mr. Babukar Joe, PS Finance. Mr. Lang Loom, Director General of Communications and Digital Economy, overseeing the Directorate of ICT. Our able DG, Mr. Abdul Karim Jallo, and my humble self, Nasise Marinakuram. Each of us brings a wealth of experience and a unique perspective, making our board a strong and dynamic team ready to drive forward the ambitious vision of GICTA. Today's forum marks a crucial milestone in our journey. The Gambia ICT Agency, or GICTA, is an initiative born out of a need to harness the power of information and communications technologies to transform our government's operations and services. This transformation is not just about adopting new technologies. It's about creating a seamless, efficient, and inclusive digital environment that benefits every citizen. Our mandate at GICTA encompasses several core areas. One is encouraging the creation of homegrown applications that address our unique needs and challenges. Two, ensuring that our ICT initiatives follow consistent and high-quality standards, promoting interoperability and efficiency. Three, equipping our citizens with the necessary skills to navigate and thrive in the digital world. Four, safeguarding our digital infrastructure and data against threats, ensuring a secure online environment. Five, overseeing ICT projects and initiatives to ensure they align with our national goals and deliver expected outcomes. Six, integrating ICT solutions into government operations to improve service delivery and operational efficiency. Seven, building and maintaining the robust infrastructure needed to support our digital initiatives. And eight, ensuring that different systems and services work together seamlessly to provide a unified experience. Each of these areas is critical for creating a resilient, efficient, and innovative ICT landscape in the Gambia. By focusing on these goals, we aim to foster an environment where technology enhances governance, empowers citizens, and drives sustainable development. I couldn't conclude without thanking the Minister and the Ministry for their immense support in the operationalizing the agency. In closing, I want to reiterate our commitment to making GICTA a catalyst for positive change. With your support and collaboration, we are confident that we can achieve our vision of transforming government through ICT, making it more transparent, efficient, and responsive to the needs of our people. Thank you once again for joining us today. Let us embark on this transformative journey together towards a brighter, more connected future for the Gambia. Thank you.
She moved the mic down, forgetting I'm very tall. That was Mrs. Nasise Madanakurang, Vice Chairperson of the GICTA Board of Directors. Thank you so very much for that very concise opening remark, and indeed with the power of ICT and with the power of collaboration with everyone else that is present here today, I do believe 100% that we will be able to transform the Gambia and make it one of the most attractive tech hubs, not just in West Africa or in the region or in Africa, but in the whole world as well. Thank you so very much, Mrs. Nasise. And I would like to invite the Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service, Mrs. Salimatu Ture, who would like to give us a few words. You're welcome.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Good morning, everybody. Honorable Minister of Digital Economy, Permanent Secretaries, members of the board, and senior government officials. Good morning again. And I would just like to welcome you all to this sensitization forum. As you know, the public service is essential for achieving the goals and targets of the RFNDP, as well as our other national documents that drive the development of this country. It is the bridge.
She moved the mic down, forgetting I'm very tall. That was Mrs. Nasise Madanakurang, Vice Chairperson of the GICTA Board of Directors. Thank you so very much for that very concise opening remark, and indeed with the power of ICT and with the power of collaboration with everyone else that is present here today, I do believe 100% that we will be able to transform the Gambia and make it one of the most attractive tech hubs, not just in West Africa or in the region or in Africa, but in the whole world as well. Thank you so very much, Mrs. Nasise. And I would like to invite the Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service, Mrs. Salimatu Ture, who would like to give us a few words. You're welcome.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Good morning, everybody. Honorable Minister of Digital Economy, Permanent Secretaries, members of the board, and senior government officials. Good morning again. And I would just like to welcome you all to this sensitization forum. As you know, the public service is essential for achieving the goals and targets of the RFNDP, as well as our other national documents that drive the development of this country. It is the bridge is lending its full support to the Ministry of Digital Economy and GICTA to ensure that we move this transformation process. On behalf of His Excellency the President and the Minister of Public Service, and the Minister of Public Service, I would like to thank the Minister of Digital Economy as well as the Director General of GICTA, the members of the board, and all the consultants for this worthy initiative. And also, I would like to reiterate our desire to continue this support, and I wish us all successful deliberations. Thank you very much.
Speeches are great, but there are roots on every tree that make the tree to grow. Without the roots, there would be no branches, no leaves. So let me first take this opportunity to thank the Vice Chair of GICTA, Mr. Lamin Jabi. Lamin Jabi, please stand up and let everybody recognize this man, what has he done to help GICTA become what it is today. Please. And not to forget the current Vice Chair, who has worked tirelessly, even without hesitant. When we lost our chairman, she stepped in and did the right thing. Ms. Sajid, please stand up and let's give her a round of applause. And today I want to recognize the National Assembly member that is here, who is the chairperson of the ICT in the National Assembly, known as Alaji Mbow. Honorable Mbow, please stand up. Give him a round of applause. The last but not the least, my Honorable Permanent Secretary, Mr. Lamin S. Kamara. Thank you very much. Stand up with a round of applause. We appreciate you. Now, Secretary General and Head of the Civil Service, the Acting Chairperson of the Board of Directors of GICTA, the Board of Directors of GICTA, Permanent Secretaries of MOBDI, the Director General of GICTA, Permanent Secretaries of the Head of Governments, Department and Agency present here, staff of the MOBDI, GICTA, and WADIP, the press, ladies and gentlemen, all other protocol duly observed. Good morning to you all. It is with great pleasure I stand before you today and to welcome you to this crucial sensitization forum organized by the Gambia Information Communication Agency, GICTA. Your presence underscores the importance of the forum and signifies a commitment to understanding and supporting the digital transformation agenda of our nation. By clarifying GICTA mandate and aligning it with our government's goals, we can ensure compliance, enhance oversight, and foster a collaborative environment that leverage ICT solutions to address our nation's challenges. I am honored to share the government's vision for a digital economy and the strategic role of GICTA in achieving this vision. The digital economy presents many opportunities for growth and development. It can revolutionize the public service and making them more efficient, accessible, empower young people by giving them skills needed for digital success, employment, and self-reliance, enhance businesses so that they compete globally. To leverage its full potential, we require a coordinated and collective effort. That is why your presence here today is of such great significance. As the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, my mandate is to lead the government programs and activities in the ICT sector and facilitate the realization of digital vision. Over the short period of time, we have registered several key milestones since the creation of MOBDI. In line with His Excellency President Adama Barrow's vision anchored in the National Development Plan Yiriwa 2023 to 2027. This includes set up and operationalize GICTA in the fourth year of my appointment after having GICTA Act done since 2019. Now, GICTA is staffed with at least 10 staff. Set up and operationalize WADI project with $50 million grant. We are on the verge of implementing the second submarine cable through the World Bank support. We are bringing the application of government services online, starting with 5 services through my Gov'T platform to support from the ECOWAS. This plan is to have 70% of the government services online by 2026. We have developed and passed 15 cabinet papers, including bills and over 1 year period. These include the Digital Economy Master Plan, National Fiber Policy, Infrastructure Sharing Policy, to name but a few. We have developed and validated the digital ID strategy through the support of UNICA, as highlighted by the President during the SONA. He has instructed the development of a single digital ID alongside the National ID Card project, leveraging on the strategy. We have put the Gambia on the digital map with our proactive international cooperation strategy by hosting at least 3 international conferences in ICT and signing of MOU with at least 10 bodies, including sister ministries. We have expanded the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy from 1 directorate with 1 director to 5 directorates with 5 directors in 2023. For the telecom sector, we have successfully gotten a cabinet approval on the restructuring of Gamcel to invite private sector participation. We have implemented a government email platform accompanied with an email policy, modernized all the ministry website, including some agencies and department, developed and mandated a government DNS registry, as well as upgraded the government hosting infrastructure to state of the art. This year, we will be launching the first government information portal and mobile application in partnership with ECOWAS and the Ministry of Information. Hold the first International Digital Innovation Summit in the Gambia, launch the Starlink Internet Project in the Gambia, launch a government security operational center known as SOC, implementation of the ECOWAS roaming, migrate from 7-digit to 9-digit telephone numbers, among others. As these developments within a short period of time represent our unwavering commitment to transform the communication and digital economy sector. My ministry have crafted 5 pillars as the driver of our digital economy vision. These 5 pillars are as follows: the second submarine cable, the national payment gateway known as the switch, the national ID, the Tier 4 data center, and the e-government services. Today's event is particularly special as it marks the sensitization forum of the Gambia Information and Communication Technology Agency, GICTA. GICTA is the new agency indicated to driving our national digital transformation to ensure that our technological advancements are sustainable, interoperable, secure, and inclusive. As technology drives both economic growth and social development, our government envisions a digital future which enhances the quality of our life for our people, for our Gambian people. This vision involves efficient governance, accessible public service, and an economy driven by innovation, technology. The core element of GICTA must facilitate to bring this transformation about. GICTA holds this key responsibility of overseeing implementation of our e-government plan while leading the transition into a digital economy. GICTA main objectives are clear and vital. They include providing a quality IT service to government, coordinating IT-related projects, standardizing IT planning, acquisition, and implementation across government institutions. Unfortunately, there remains an understanding gap about its vital function. Therefore, this forum aims to bridge that divide by fully informing ministries, departments, agencies, and state-owned enterprise on GICTA purpose, and purposeful implementation thereof. The strategic role of GICTA is achieving this vision cannot be overstated. GICTA will coordinate effort across various sectors, ensuring that the government ICT project align with the broader goals of digital service provision, connectivity, security, and innovation. As we get into the discussion, let us remember that digital economy is not merely about technology, but it's about people. It is about creating the opportunities, especially for the youths, fostering inclusivity, and ensuring that every Gambian and resident can benefit from this advancement in ICT. GICTA role in the endeavor cannot be over-elaborated. It is the agency that will drive the digital transformation, ensuring our ICT projects are not only innovative, but also sustainable and impactful. Before I conclude, as they said when we started this project, it is difficult to form an agency. Some said it's not possible. Some said it's too complicated. We said, let's just try. And we tried. We tried. We tried. And today, we made a dent, a milestone. In conclusion, let's not let the noise distract our vision and the vision of our president, which is to digitalize the Gambia and provide our citizens services at their fingertip. In the conclusion, as we head the ministry and department agency, state-owned enterprise, you are indispensable in the GICTA initiative being successful and our digital transformation agenda being realized fully. By working together in our digital future initiative, we can ensure their success while strengthening our partnership necessary for successful digital future. Together, let's build a digitally and more connected Gambia for all. I thank you and wish you a wonderful forum.
Digital economy. Another round of applause for that very fantastic keynote address. Thank you very much, Honorable, for that incredibly important insight into the plans and strategies to transform the Gambia into a digital giant. It is very admirable to see the government's commitment to revolutionize the Gambia and its people, regardless of their socioeconomic status. As a young person in the Gambia, I would personally say that I am very excited to see these projects and these plans and strategies come into fruition. And the future of ICT, I would say, I would guess you would all agree with me, is indeed very bright in the Gambia. Thank you so very much. And next on the agenda, we are going to have a photo session for all attendees. This will give you some time to, shake off whatever stiffness is in your limbs right now. And this would only take 10 minutes, and just make sure that you're refreshed. And then we can come back in and move on with the overview of GICTA by none other than our Honorable Director General of GICTA, Professor Abdul Karim Jallo. Please, let's make our way outside for the photo session. Thank you.
Here who are taking part in this sensitization program, you realize that they come from a cross-cutting sector. What do you seek to achieve at the end of the day after having this critical interface with them?
What we seek to achieve is to inform them and educate them about the mandate of GICTA, so that in the future, when they intend or plan any ICT project or initiative, they'll be able to liaise with us so that we can be able to help them in their implementation drive. Thank you. Protocols jury observe. It is an honor on behalf of the Board of Directors, on behalf of the management and the staff of the agency, and also on behalf of the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy for organizing this forum. I am Abdul Karim Jallo, as the host introduce the Director General of the agency. I'm going to do a very comprehensive but kind of like summarized presentation of the mandate of the agency in order to help inform and educate all of us here today about the mandate. And this is going to be the presentation that I will present. Now, ICT projects that is across the entire sector, that is ministries, departments, and agencies. It is governed by a board, and you have the esteemed board here, who are always on me to ensure that during this setting up period of the agency, we are doing the right thing. And as they were introduced, I don't need to go through that again, but I just want to say on behalf of the management and even on behalf of the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy to definitely thank the board. They have been putting me a task in setting up the agency, and I'm sure all of you here are senior top civil servants, and you know how difficult it is to establish an agency from ground zero, right, without any structures. We've gone through a journey in the past few months. Now, why GICTA? I want to take us through a history. Now, the status quo in the Gambia before GICTA was established, or what drove the establishment of GICTA, is that number one, there is absence of proper coordination of ICT project implementations in the government, right? There was no central entity that was charged, apart from the ministry, which focuses heavily on policy, regulation, strategies, and frameworks. There was no particular entity in charge of government ICT implementations. Number two, there is lack of standardization of ICT tools and services across the government. And number three, there is a lot of fragmentation. There are silos implementation of systems. What that means is that every individual ministry, department, and agency would have their own ICT initiatives and develop their own ICT projects and implement them and operationalize them. But this creates a fragmentation. We are talking about one government, right? We probably would need to think about eradicating that silos implementation of ICT projects and try to look at a more integrated ICT project implementations. As a result of that fragmentation, there is lack of integration, a lot of challenges in integration, and that does not also support interoperability, because when systems are not integrated, they cannot interoperate. That means sharing and exchanging of information becomes difficult. And that means we still continue to use the manual paper, which is very tedious and error prone, right? And number 5, sustainability is a problem. Most of these ICT systems, when they are implemented across government ministries, departments, and agencies, after a while, they are not operational. As a result, maybe the funds are not available anymore, or as a result of lack of technical competency to help. And sometimes most of these ICT tools and systems are developed from outside, and then we get locked in. And that creates a lot of problems. Most of you, I'm sure, in your ministries, departments, and agencies, you know exactly what I'm talking about when most of these ICT tools are developed from outside. And you will see in the presentation, one of the mandate of GICTA is to help support local ICT development. Now, GICTA, the establishment of GICTA, I would want to say that we give you a booklet. In the booklet, we have tried to put all the establishment of GICTA, the powers of GICTA, the objectives of GICTA, and the functions of GICTA, which I'm sure will be very helpful for you, even in your, as you live here in future, when your ministries, departments, and agencies want to implement ICT projects, you can use this as a reference guide so that you understand some of the mandates of GICTA and how we can collaborate and help you. So GICTA, as I said, is established on these 3 elements. That's the objects, powers, and functions, and you have them in the booklet. The vision of GICTA, with the help of the board, we were able to craft a very interesting vision, and that is a digitally integrated smart government and nation, right? That's what we want to achieve in the Gambia, to have a government that is digitally integrated and smart, and also a nation that is digitally integrated and smart. And to do that, what we are envisaging is that basically all different public services can be provided digitally. That's what brings about a digital economy, where basically all economic activities in the nation are going to, or can be done digitally. And there are so many components that would need to be put in place to provide that. And that's what GICTA is set up to help provide, based on government policies, which will be formulated by the ministry. Policies, regulations, strategies, and frameworks, which then GICTA will be able to work on and implement in order to achieve this vision. We also crafted a very interesting mission for GICTA, again with the help of the board. I remember in some of the board meetings we spent many hours, right? And I can say Mr. Lamijabi, he's smiling, he will be like, DG, we want to go home, right? But thank God, we were able to craft a very interesting vision. Remember, as I said, this is a new agency without any structures when we started, right? So we needed to really put some of these things in place to guide our operations. So the mission, I would not necessarily read all this to you, but I will leave it to you to go through. But I will just highlight a few things that touches on the mandate of GICTA and what we hope to do for the civil service, and of course, residents and citizens of the Gambia. Now, one is to provide smart and innovative cutting-edge digital solutions, which touches on ICT implementation. And we also are mandated to provide coordination and also standardization of ICT tools development, implementation, and operationalization. We need to have that standardization. And 3, as we are in charge of all government ICT project implementation, we need to look at the entire life cycle of designing and implementing and operationalizing ICT tools and services. And that means we will work with ministries, departments, and agencies during the initiation, during the design, during the implementation, and also management of ICT systems to make these systems sustainable, because that is very important. And digital transformation. Now, today in our public service, in the civil service, if you look at it, most of our activities are manual, as I said before, paper intensive, which are error prone. As we move in the digital era, as we aim for a digital economy, we need to really have a digital transformation, which will help improve how the civil service, basically how the public service operates, in order to bring about efficiency, effectiveness, and improve performance and productivity. We need to have digital transformation, and that's one of the mandates that GICTA is charged with. And last but not the least, to drive the digital economy, to ensure that all our activities, all our human activities in the nation, our economic activities, we can be able to use digital tools and services to do that. That's our vision, our mission. Now, moving on to the objects that are the objectives of GICTA. Number one is to help provide e-government enhancement. How can we enhance the government services? And again, as I said before in the introduction, the e-government services means how can we provide digital tools that cut across all the different services that the government provides, and also to help transition into a sustainable e-government environment. How do we provide the digital public infrastructure that will be used to provide those digital tools to enhance how the government operates? Let's say, for example, we have Sarahulis who live in Basse, and they always want, yes, Sankano, they want passports, right? They leave Basse to come to Banjul for a passport. And they line at the immigrations. And I think in the digital era, we need to change that. And that is what e-government means. Some of the digital services that the government provides, some of the services that the government interfaces and interacts with the citizens. We need to be able to enhance that and provide digital services and digital tools to do that. And also to empower people and businesses. We need to be able to provide digital tools and services to our citizens and our residents, right? To be able to do things that they would want to do within the community, in between the citizens and the government, right? If, for example, so much is talk about what we call e-participation, right? How can we help citizens to interact, to participate in how the government operates, right? And how can we also empower businesses? I mean, most of you here travel. If you travel outside of the Gambia, you go to so many different countries. I'm not even talking about Europe and America, but even in Africa, most of your commercial activities are not done with cash, right? We use digital services. How can we empower people in the Gambia and businesses to be able to do the same thing here? And of course, to provide standardization. As I said, in the government, across all MDAs, there is lack of standardization. There is lack of uniformity in the use of ICT services. And as one government, we need to at least rationalize how we utilize ICT services. It is no good that you have about 5 different government agencies or ministries, for example, using systems, individual different systems that could have been rationalized, harmonized into one. Let's say, for example, if you need 5 different government department, ministries, and agencies, if they all want to use, for example, an ERP system, and this happens today across our MDAs, right? Why can't we have one ERP system, for example, our IFMIS, right? Why can't we upgrade the IFMIS so that all government ministries, departments, and agencies can use that one IFMIS, Integrated Financial Management System, instead of having various different government agencies using multiple systems that could have been done by just one system that can save the government a lot of money. And it can streamline how that system is used and maintained. Because now you need only to put together resources to maintain one system instead of maintaining 5 systems, right? And the other part of this is something that really touches my heart, because this is about how we support local ICT development. Even today, this morning, I was talking with some of you, and I think one of the permanent secretaries was very much enthusiastic when we were discussing about how we can implement ICT tools in education. How can we digitize, right, our education, teaching, pedagogy, research, and things like that. So But as I said before, most of our ICT systems and services, most of them are developed outside. But today, I can say this with a lot of confidence that we have very good local ICT providers here who can develop very good systems. Now, the belief is that, and for those people who, I mean, in fact, all of us here, if you look at the functions in the Act and some of the objects, is that we should support local ICT businesses, local content development, and local application development, right? And I think it's going to be very helpful. The last time I spoke to His Excellency the President about the local ICT content development, and yes, he agreed that we have very talented youth today that can be empowered to help develop local ICT systems and services. Now, my philosophy is where the competency is not available in the country, it is not bad to collaborate with people from outside, but even when we do that on our contracts, I think we should be smart enough in our contract drafting and award to at least ask those international developers to partner with local ICT developers. Now, on the powers of GICTA, one is to commission expert evaluations and authorized technical tests. This is something very important, especially when we live in a digital world where you have cyber criminals all over the cyberspace, right? And each time I speak with the Directorate of Cybersecurity at the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, especially with Director Sanusi Drame, this is something that we always talk about. There are so many ICT tools that are used in government. Trust me, in fact, holding sensitive government data and information that we cannot confirm where those systems are from. We cannot confirm what kind of operating systems or what kind of software are on there. We cannot even confirm if there are no spyware on those systems or on those tools. So it is very important that GICTA has been given the power to be able to commission expert evaluations of government ICT tools so as to ensure that the tools that we are using in our government, holding our sensitive government data, are free of anything that would be detrimental, right? And also to conduct technical tests to pass those tools and systems to ensure that they are fit to be used in our government. And also to coordinate cybersecurity measures. So we have our cybersecurity directorate at the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, where they will be formulating very strong and appropriate cybersecurity policies, regulations, and framework and strategies, which we will ensure we implement to help provide safe cyber space in the Gambia. E-readiness surveys, we need to be sure, before we develop all these tools and implement them and we say, let's use them, we need to be sure that we have the skills, we need to be sure that we have the infrastructure, we need to be sure that we are able to implement and operationalize them. And that's what e-readiness surveys help us to do. We need to be able to conduct e-readiness to understand where we are in terms of our digitalization ecosystem. And also, it has been given the power to conduct registration and classification of ICT solutions and building partnerships, building partnership with local ICT developers and also building partnerships with international agencies. For example, last month, we were able to sign a memorandum of understanding cooperation agreement with the Digital Development Agency of Morocco, which is going to be instrumental in helping us, especially whilst we are setting up. Another very important power that the agency have been given, which is very important that we clarify this here, is approval authority, right? If you look at the Act, it is very important that ministries, departments, and agencies, before you embark on your ICT projects, once you identify the need, right, it is important that you come in touch with GICTA, the ministry and GICTA in particular, to help understand what your needs are, what your requirements are. Then we'll be able to help you from a technical point of view to specify some of the technical specifications that you will need, which are going to be in line with the enterprise architecture that we are formulating, which is going to be the national blueprint for ICT implementation in the Gambia. Otherwise, you may go on and start implementing ICT projects that may not be able to fit within our ICT ecosystem due to the integration and operationalization that we are aiming for. So GICTA has been given the mandate to approve ICT projects, and we want to work with all ministries, departments, and agencies to help you to ensure that the tools and systems that you are going to develop will be operational and will be maintainable and will provide sustainability. And also, we have been given the mandate to provide project oversights when the projects are being implemented. We want to be there in the journey with you to ensure that the developers are developing and meeting the requirements that have been specified. Sometimes, in fact, recently there has been a scenario where a particular developer was contracted to develop a particular system for a particular government agency, and the request for approval came to the ministry. In fact, Director General Lum knows what I'm talking about. And when we set up a technical committee to review that contract, we identified so many shortcomings in that contract. And we had to call the developer and to call the particular the management of that particular agency and then discuss, and we were able to identify how we can mitigate or how we can revise that contract in order to provide the services, the requirements that this particular agency needs. Now, if that approval request did not have come to the ministry, in fact, I am very happy to even say Permanent Secretary Lamin Kamara had a very quick oversight to say, look, contact GICTA, okay? Put together a team with the ministry so that you look at this. And those kind of scenarios could have happened or are happening in so many different contracts where projects are implemented without GICTA or the ministry even knowing about them. And at the end, these project systems become unoperational, and it becomes a waste of money. And that's why approval needs to be sought at GICTA to help you in your journey to put together a very good technical specification. Another very important one, and I'm sure PS Menley is here, this is very important, especially to the departments of education, MOPSI and MOHAS, that GICTA would need to collaborate with these two ministries to create general awareness and education in the area of IT and ICT services. Now, if we want to put together a digital economy, we need to look at digital skills, right? We need to ensure that people understand what these tools are and how to use them. So we have been mandated to work with these two ministries, and of course with all other ICT digital training providers, to be sure that we put together skills that would be important and appropriate as we get into the digital economy in the Gambia. In terms of functions, GICTA, being very technical agency, is going to serve as the first level of technical support in the government. But we cannot do that if we are not involved in the design and implementation of your systems. Because sometimes when there are problems with systems in a particular ministry, department, or agency, and MOGDI is called before GICTA was set up, sometimes MOGDI would not have even known about that particular system. And then it becomes difficult for the technicians to even help that particular ministry, department, or agency. So it is important that we are involved from the onset so that when there is the need to provide technical support, we will be there to help with that. And also to enforce standardization of hardware and software procurement. You go to so many ministries, departments, and agencies, trust me, you will see officers using a laptop with an expired license of Microsoft Office, right? And when you do that, it means you are not getting updates or you are not getting, patches, security, your system is vulnerable. So we want to ensure that across government, tools, systems, computers, equipments that are used follow a particular standard, and we are putting together some of these standards and guidelines that will help us from now on when we are purchasing tools for government use, that they meet those standards, at least to help avoid some of the problems that could come out of it. And also to help guide service providers on cloud computing. For some of you who do not know, there is a government cloud policy, right? And we need to be able to implement what that is. Probably there may be other forums where we can talk about that in much more detail, because I'm sure so many people are enthusiastic about the cloud, but there are policy strategies that we have to adhere to. Another function is to monitor and evaluate ICT industry performance. We need to be on top of the game. We need to be able to understand what is happening in the industry so that we can be able to provide innovative and cutting-edge ICT solutions, and also to help ensure that during the procurement of ICT tools and services, we follow those specifications that are specified, especially the standards in the guidelines that would be provided for the government. Another very important aspect is that GICTA will be working with MOGDI in the management of government ICT employees. So many of us here know that in our ministries, departments, and agencies, there are ICT employees, right, in those ministries. And we will be working with them to ensure that the tools and systems that we are going to develop, they are able to maintain or manage those on behalf of those ICT ministries, departments, and agencies. So there will be, you will be seeing a lot more of GICTA within your ministries, departments, and agencies, in particularly with our collaboration with those ICT employees in government ministries and departments. As I said before, it is a mandate in GICTA to ensure that we establish and manage the computer incident response team in government to ensure that when there are cybersecurity breaches, we have a technical team, a response team that will be able to respond to some of those cyber breaches. Records management, we talked about manual, paper-intensive public service. We need to move away from this and at least help bring about a digital records management. Currently, the NRS is piloting an electronic records management system, and we will need to work collaboratively with the NRS to help them make that NRS much more broader in terms of its usage and its capacity and capability. Again, as I said before, as part of the functions, part of the fund powers, it is a responsibility of GICTA to help in digital skills awareness training. So we will be working with the Ministry of Education to at least help build capacity in the ICT industry, not only to the residents and citizens, but also as we interact with the local ICT industry, we will be making sure at least that some of the capacity development is done, provide some training to make sure that they are up to play in the game. And at least 40% of each IT-related project is to be delivered by local IT businesses. But that does not necessarily mean 100% of each ICT project, but sometimes there may be collaboration or partnerships that you can have with international ICT vendors. Now, e-payment and education development. E-payment is something very important. Now, if you look at the Act, it specifies that we need to ensure that across all government sectors, wherever there is going to be a payment that is made at any particular ministry, department, or agency, we need to ensure that we automate or provide e-payment solutions. And one of the pillars of the ministry is to provide a national payment gateway. And I am sure when that national payment gateway is up and running, we will then be able to move forward to at least operationalize e-payment on basically every government ministry, department, or agency where payment is going to be taken. And of course, to provide and to advocate for ICT projects. I mean, GICTA, through its research and development and innovations, can think about some other ICT tools and services that would benefit the public. For example, right now, on the WADI project, we have an ongoing activity, which is to review some of the digital public services that are provided and see how well they are functional, if there is any gap, can we improve these digital services, and can we recommend, right, the development of some other new digital services that would benefit citizens and residents. So GICTA has been given that mandate to at least advocate for ICT projects and services. Now, some of the activities currently, as I said, GICTA is new. We are operationalizing. That means we are putting together the structures to make the agency an agency. As the Honorable Minister said, is very, very difficult to set up an agency. I say to some of my friends, when I came back from America, I used to have dark black hair. And now when I look myself at the mirror, I can start seeing some gray hair, you know, and trust me, it's not really easy, especially when you have a board like this one here, watching at your back. So we are putting together the structures from human resources to financial to technical, to public relations and the like, to make the agency an agency. We are also, one of our activities is the development of a government-wide enterprise architecture, which is going to be the blueprint of the Gambia for the first time, that whoever is going to design, develop, and implement an ICT solution across the government, you will have a blueprint that you can use as a guide that is going to help specify, for example, integration requirements, interoperability, data formats, security requirements, infrastructure, and things like that, and considering the different ministry, department, and agencies, their functions and processes. I think this is going to be a game changer here in the Gambia. We are also investigating some infrastructure and systems that we would need to put in place. Again, I will reference our former permanent secretary, Lamin Kamara. Each time I meet him in his office, we think about something, right? And right now we are even thinking about creating what we call a national data bank, right? So that from all the different government systems, we can be able to extract information, citizen information, national data from those systems and keep them in a national data bank, right? Which I think is also going to be something very, very useful. So we are doing some of those investigations. And we are also, as I said before, through the WADI project, doing digital public service gap analysis to understand some of the digital public services, service tools that we have in order to understand what is not working and what we need to put in place. And of course, we are working on digitizing some of the digital public service that are provided. DG Loom and his team had been collaborating with us, with the Bangladeshi government through the A2I to help implement the MyGov here in the Gambia. And some of the 5 services that we are using as a pilot include the national passport application process to digitize it, national ID card, driver's license, birth certificate, and business registration. And I think these are very important 5 services that the government provides that interface with the public. And if we are successful with those, then we can move on to other digital services. And of course, development of guidelines and standards. I think this is very important if we are to have standardization and uniformity of ICT use in government. We need to have guidelines and standards that we will be able to use. Now, GICTA as an agency under the purview of the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy will need to interact and collaborate with all government ministries, departments, and agencies. And we have started, as part of our research, we have started crafting a collaboration model between MDAs, MOGD, and GICTA. And you can see MOGD and GICTA is like parent and child, right? And we need to be connected with the MDAs. And GICTA, MOGD will be developing policies, regulation strategies, but those would be driven by government agenda in digitalization, which can be gathered through the MDS. Now, when those policies are crafted, those policies will need to come to GICTA for us to implement. And when we implement, MOGDI will be able to, during the implementation, MOGDI supervises to ensure that GICTA is implementing government policies. And then GICTA, once those systems are operational at the MDAs, GICTA will be monitoring and ensuring that the systems are up and running. And if there is any need for upgrades, improvement, we can then know. If there is need for policy change, then we can interact with MOGDI to help that. And we think this is a very good collaborative model to help the ICT development in our ministries, departments, and agencies. But we do not need to forget about regulations and standards, right? Because you cannot do all these things without following regulations and standardization. There are institutions responsible for regulations and standards. For example, we have PURA, which is the regulator. You have GPPA, for example, for public procurement. And you have GSB, which is the Gambia Standards Bureau. So GICTA will be collaborating with all these agencies in order to facilitate the formulation of regulations and also standardization of our ICT ecosystem. In conclusion, I just want to provide a summary. One, GICTA will help in integration and interoperability of our ICT tools across government. It will help implement the e-government program of the Gambia, and it will help in development of infrastructure, for example, data centers. Again, that's one of the pillars of the ministry, to develop a tier 4 data center, which is a fault tolerance data center, so that we can host our applications and store our data locally here in the Gambia. GICTA will help coordinate and monitor all government ICT projects across all ministries, departments, and agencies, and help ensure proper cybersecurity across MDAs, and help provide digital literacy and provide standardization of ICT tools and services, and help support local ICT application development. With that, I thank you all.
Speechless, because it kind of did to me, but I have a job to do, so I'm here. Thank you so much for that overview, Professor Jallow. That, again, was Professor Abdul Karim Jallow, Director General of GICTA. Please put your hands together for him once again. Okay, so that was very, very concise and clear overview of the mandate and the goals for GICTA. And just to go over what he talked about again, Professor Jallow went through the overview of GICTA's objectives, powers, and functions, GICTA's importance when it comes to approval for ICT projects here in the Gambia, the rationalizing, streamlining, and optimal utilization of ICT resources, as well as the role in promoting local IT businesses and ensuring project compliance. I'm hoping that we all have gotten exactly the gist of why GICTA is here and why the agency was created to promote IT or ICT rather here in the Gambia. And we all recognize that that one of the major challenges that we face in the Gambia, especially within government institutions, is effective implementation, which is why the agency is here for us. And I think this was such a fantastic milestone for the Gambia, and I cannot wait to see the innovative changes and strategies get into place. However, again, like I was talking about with the GICTA's involvement, I'm confident that we definitely will see significant progress when it comes to IT in the Gambia, especially in the government institutions. And, I believe the Gambia will definitely transform into an attractive, digitally focused economy, making life easier for everyone. And you have all been giving a comprehensive booklet on what GICTA is all about. I'm sure when you came in, that was one of the first things that you were given. And, you can go through it in your own time. And as government officials, this is a very important document for you to have in hand, and make sure that, whenever you might need assistance when it comes to anything, when it comes to anything on IT implementation in the Gambia, I'm pretty sure you can just go through it and see where GICTA comes in when it comes to project implementation for you. And if you don't have any, that's okay. I think we've got some in storage. You can just ask one of the ushers to hand you one. And again, we also have it digitally, because we're talking about IT and ICT here. We also have it digitally on the GICTA website, where you can also get other strategic plans and documents that were created for the advancement of IT in the Gambia. So if you need that as well, you can let us know. Just go to, I think www.gicta.gov.gm. But if that's not right, please let me know, and I'll definitely be able to hand you the correct website. So again, another heartfelt thank you to Mr. Jallo for giving us that very comprehensive overview of GICTA's mandate and what the agency is all about. And we're going to have our guest speakers. So members of the high table, please remain seated. Don't worry, I'm pretty sure you guys want to leave the high table right now. But it's okay, you'll be fine. We're going to be having our guest speakers, one from the Kingdom of Morocco, as well as Rwanda, which we all know is one of the most attractive tech hubs in the entirety of Africa. I would say I'm kind of biased because I spent some time there and I've seen the changes and everything that they have going on there, and I would just say that it is fantastic, honestly. And we would not have better guest speakers to be able to give us an overview basically on the digitalization and best practices and success stories of the ICT agencies from other African countries, as well as the digitalization and the Digital Development Agency in both Rwanda and the Kingdom of Morocco. So before we get on to that, because I'm pretty sure they will be joining us digitally, to all that are present here, please do let us know if you have any questions for our board members seated up here today on GICTA. If you want anything cleared up for you, our board members are prepared to let you know whatever it is that may be boggling your mind. So I guess you have 5 minutes before our guest speakers are ready. So whoever has a question, please raise up your hand and we would hand you a mic.